It's become quite a rivalry between two powers in the West Division over the last number of years. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and we know what they have been able to accomplish in the decade that Mike O'Shea has been head coach, and a team in the BC Lions who have a new head coach this year, one familiar to us here in Winnipeg, and Buck Pierce, but it has been the emergence of Nathan Rourke that has really put them into the conversation of a team that can win a Grey Cup championship now. Welcome inside the Bonfire and GameDay Winnipeg here on Bonfire Sports. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Let's bring in the man that you came to see, and that is Chris Walby. It's amazing, Chris, how a week ago we saw two starting quarterbacks in Chris Streveler for the Blue Bombers and Nathan Rourke for the BC Lions. This week, completely different. Zach Collaros comes off his one-game suspension, will start for Winnipeg, and it will be Jeremiah Masoli starting for the BC Lions as Nathan Rourke battling injury. We'll get into Brady Oliveira, and we'll get into some of the other changes, including Nick Dembski chasing down some history. But first, how are you, and how are you seeing this game shaping up?
Well, it's interesting you talk about the fact that, Nathan Rourke going against Chris Streveler. I want to give a little kudos, and I said this in Twitter. I put a little post out there that maybe some of these naysayers who have, said that, Chris can't get the job done throwing the football, that he's only good for short yardage and running. I mean, that's the truth. A lot of people were, on that bandwagon.
I was one.
And I think, right. Yeah. But I watched him and he threw the ball exceptionally well. He had great protection from his offensive line, who we also questioned last week with the changes. But I just thought he played an exceptional game, made smart decisions. And here's a guy who made his living running, but he only ran the ball twice. Now you turn the clock back. You got Nathan Rourke, who is, obviously he's the face of the franchise of the BC Lions. I agree, but he's been getting injured. And this is a thing I talked about with you last show. And DB, I know he didn't get hurt in short yardage, but I hate the fact that guy is a short yardage quarterback. It's ridiculous to me. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. And he didn't get hurt on it. He got on a twist, a oblique injury. I think it's smart of BC not playing him. But they got a guy that's played a lot of games. It's his 184th game. 184. Jeremiah Masoli. And he's done some great things. When he had his best years when he was a Ticat in Hamilton. But he's healthy. He went to some specialists all offseason, worked out. He says he feels so good athletically, like he's young again. So he said, if I got to run, I'm going to run.
Yeah. And
that to me is, it just epitomizes what he can give to that offense. I know Buck Pierce is I got to tell you what, the backup quarterbacks in this league, there's a lot of teams have some great. I was watching Montreal yesterday. That young kid, Davis Alexander, he pulled a hamstring. Who they got back up? McLeod Bethel Thompson. So, I mean, I love the depth. Now, I feel sorry for Edmonton because, man, they're struggling. They're just, I don't know. I want them to be successful. I want them to change their name back to the Eskimos. I don't like the Elks. Just my personal opinion. And I'll get off that topic now.
I'm kind of with you there. Yeah.
Two new quarterbacks. Zach has been chomping at the proverbial bit to get into the lineup and get to play. We talked about that ridiculous one-game suspension. I just think I'm looking for big things about. I know he's 36 or 37. So is Masoli. They're both old cats at 36. So, it's going to be a good game. And BC's on a 3-game win streak at home. Mm-hmm. So, who knows? Flip a dice. I just think Bombers are good, though, man. You said it, GB. You said last week you thought they were stronger this year with all the additions. They might be. That defense looks awesome.
Just looking at the numbers from last week, there's Nathan Rourke. And I mean, it's not like he got injured and played through it, Chris. When he, injured his oblique, which is, a core muscle, like in the abdomen, side of the body, kind of where the kidneys are. He came out of the game. And Jeremiah Masoli went 70% for 84 yards. Yeah, it was absolutely garbage time. But looking at Nathan Rourke's numbers, he was 12 of 27, 44%, 250 yards, touchdown, interception, nice debut as a starter, not for the first time, but for a game one in Marquise Bridges for the Blue Bombers. But Rourke looked human And I have to give that credit to the Blue Bombers defense. We'll touch on them a little bit later. But there was Chris Streveler looking beyond Streveler-esque, if you will. 15 of 24 for 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, including 2 to Nick Dembski. And we're going to talk about this young man, Matthew Peterson, who was an absolute beast, wrecking ball. There was no drop-off when Brady Oliveira went down to injury. Pretty much on like the second or third offensive play of the game. But, Wheatfall with a big game off the arm of Chris Streveler. Dembski, Schoen, Stearns had the one catch, but, they have a lot of weapons. And Chris Streveler, I thought it was a masterful game plan by offensive coordinator Jason Hogan in his pro debut as a play caller and OC. He was masterful in planning things, and you lose the MOP, no fall off for Winnipeg. They were great against BC.
Well, first off, Hogan, I thought, Hogan's heroes, they played like that. I love the fact that his parents were in the stands for his first game as an OC. He had everybody play. But Matthew Peterson comes in. There's Brady O. But I'll tell you right now, that offensive line was outstanding. And I know they had to make an adjustment this week because of the injury to Brady. And they moved over and they pulled Vanderpool out. And they put, Gabe Wallace, a big 6'5", 300-plus guy, left guard. So
we'll look at that depth chart in just a second for this upcoming week. Yeah.
But, I mean, you watch it, it's pretty good, man.
These visuals, the cinematic recap, courtesy of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, their YouTube page, Rylan Dick, good friend of mine, and a young man with incredible talent for videography, photography, editing, doing a great job. I wanted to highlight these because the Blue Bombers, Rylan Dick, their entire team, Cam, and they have a new guy this year. Name is escaping me. It's a unique name. Smart. His name is Smart. Cam, Smart, Rylan, everybody on that digital media team, Josh as well, do great work. So wanted to pull up these visuals and see it. There's Willie Jefferson getting to the quarterback. I thought he had a really strong game. Got a undisclosed fine for a late hit. But Winnipeg's defense, I thought, was maybe the best of all 3 phases. And the offense was excellent. The special teams were excellent. Fans were very happy to see what the special teams were able to do in Winnipeg's first game of the season. But Chris, I'll tell you something. Matthew Peterson, probably the story of this game. He puts up incredible numbers in that win. 130 yards on the ground. Are you kidding me? There was no fall off from Brady Oliveira, who Winnipeg will not dress this week. He is on the 1-game injured list. But I don't think they're going to be missing anything with Matthew Peterson toting the rock.
Well, I know. And that's what I told you. I said, you know what? If you get a guy in there and a rookie, a lot of times it takes time to feel out that offensive line in front of you. But he made a couple nice moves, especially on that 38-yard touchdown run. He digged out the one defender and just left him there with his jock, and basically ran into the end zone. Got good speed, University of Alberta product. We got him acquired through a trade with Hamilton Ticats. Great move by, our scouting department and Kyle Walters to get him over here because, they know what he can get. I mean, he walked in, but my point is you got to have a good O-lineman. If you don't have a good line, they open some huge holes. Mm-hmm. Listen. But then I got to you saw on Brady's second run was, I think, 43 or 49 yards.
Longest of his career. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and he went around. He was stuffed in the middle, went around, broke it to the outside. Unfortunately, he got a little bit of we feel like it's an upper body or shoulder. Who knows? We'll find out.
Injury, yeah.
But, he's game to game. And I think the fact that they have this depth, as you would call it, and they have this Quentin Cooley kid, that's why they wanted that was the big change. Sorry, it wasn't because of Brady. It was because they wanted to bring Quentin Cooley, who had a tremendous preseason. And with the American coming off, one he had to go. So Vanderpool went out, and in comes Quentin Cooley. He out of Liberty, first-year guy, 5'7", not the biggest cat, but I guess he can run. They say they like his toughness. So they want to get him in there any way he can. And again, it goes to show the depth the Bombers have. They can pick and pluck and just put guys in, and they don't seem to lose a beat.
Yeah. Jamal Woods injured in practice this week. Saw him limping off the field on day 1 or day 2. I can't remember. He's on the 6-game injured list. So an American defensive tackle, Winnipeg will be without for a stretch of time. But, I don't think it's a huge deal, Chris. Like a lot of people calling into the coach's show on the radio, and other people, commenting on our postgame show that they're kind of thin on the defensive line. Here's their depth chart for their game against the Lions this week. Sorry, what's that?
I just said the same thing. Come on.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
They rush 3 often, right? So they'll still have Adams, Thomas, and Lawson as the Canadians. Colin Cornelison is a University of Manitoba product. He can play interior. He's big enough to move the pile. He can play edge. Yeah. That's where he played in university for the Bisons. Ayers is a linebacker. He is not a defensive end, but they put him there. I don't know, maybe because it's a little full up here. A lot of these guys, special teamers, Cadwallader, Novak, Wheats, the global, Connor Shea, Winnipeg's first round pick. But this is what they like to do. They'll have Jones in the middle. They'll have Wilson at weak side. They'll have Cramdy at the dime, that cover linebacker spot, that defensive back spot. SLB, that strong side linebacker, it's a defensive back. I call it the dime back because you got 5 defensive backs. That's nickel, the dime being the 6th. Cramdy there. Here's Michael Griffin. Okay, this guy, take note of 32. I'm telling you right now, Chris, Michael Griffin is an emerging star player in this league. Okay, he's somebody that you're going to get to know, like Dietrich Nichols, like Evan Holm, like Retta Cramdy. Michael Griffin, versatile, can play a lot of different positions in that defensive backfield. They kind of use him and Cramdy along with the linebackers, Jones and Wilson, off the edge. They'll show different looks. That whole football mentality of your D linemen are the ones that rush the quarterback and your linebackers are the ones that kind of sit in that middle zone and maybe blitz sometimes. No more. Jordan Younger is doing all different types of things. They love using those guys in different ways. Man, you are popular today. The phone has been ringing off the hook. How about you silence that?
I'm trying to, man. It's I can't believe it. It's like Coach O'Shea wants to talk to me. So I'll put it over there.
I get it.
But it's funny you say that too, because I think Jordan Younger did an exceptional job. And you're talking about stuff. I love what they do a lot of times. They'll bring Tony Jones, the middle linebacker, off the edge, and they'll drop Jefferson. And he goes basically and tries just to get in the way of the quarterback. He had 2 pass knockdowns last week. He's number 2 in the CFL as a defensive lineman. We already know he's the first guy ever with 100 pass knockdowns, 100 sacks. He just gets his hands up all the time. 6'7". He's got a huge wingspan. And that's a smart move. And then they move Willie around. Willie goes wherever he wants to go, depending on the defensive call. And he just does a good job. But as you said, I thought Tony Jones was a monster last week. We're looking at Peterson up the middle. That's the move. It was just phenomenal run by the young man. But,
10 tackles for Tony Jones. And he told Gord Anderson of the Winnipeg Sun, that's his goal, to get 10 tackles every single week.
He didn't get 10. Whoops, he got 9.
Well, and he had 1 on specials.
Okay, but yeah, he wants to get 10 in a defensive can. I'm just going to correct you, brother, because I know Tony, because you know what? His Micah Awe on the other side, BC, he did have 10 legit defensive tackles last week. So it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a great game again. The only thing I hate about this thing, DB, is this is the last time we play BC. So it's 2-0, and basically we don't play unless we get to the postseason.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think BC is a very good football club still. I think they're good at home. As I mentioned earlier in the show, they're 3-0 in the last 3 home games. They want to redeem themselves. And I was listening to Coach Pierce, and I was listening to some of their guys. And they're saying the nice thing that they had was they had a game to watch us as we played, and they had a bye. We had nothing on them, so we had to figure out on the go what they were going to throw at us. And, I think they got caught with their pants down a little bit. But having said that, I think BC now has tape. BC knows what Zach likes to do. Buck Pierce worked closely with Zach, Collaros for years.
That's the whole thing. You got tape, but you got tape on Chris Streveler's offense, right?
Yeah, but I guarantee you, listen, the reason about that is they don't look at, I don't think they thought that Streveler was going to throw the ball that good. I tell you, Dembski's a freak. I always said he's an X factor. Ever since he played with Saskatchewan, he's got what? Do you know the next touchdown thrown by Zach Collaros is his 200th touchdown pass? And I found it interesting that Nick Dembski has 25 of those touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, that's, an eighth of that. The guy, sorry, I like to do math. I'm this kind of guy. But, that's his target. But I think that the BC Lions will probably have a better game plan than they did last week. Or I think the BC Bombers are good because the Winnipeg's going to come out and just try to establish. I used to call it bully ball, but it's still bully ball. It doesn't matter who's in the backfield. They're going to come out hands full, and they got big boys up front. I think it's going to be just a slobber knocker if you want to go back to the old terms. Nice place to play in a dome, no wind, good crowd. Gets noisy in there. And like I said, the BC Lions have done a great job of the fan base. So it should be a good crowd knowing this is the last time they'll play Winnipeg this year.
When you talk about bully ball, everyone's like, well, hey, that's Brady Oliveira, right? Or that's, in this case, Matthew Peterson, right? But bully ball is the guys at the line of scrimmage. They're the ones pushing dudes around, right? So Kendall Randolph and Stanley Bryant started last week, as did Game Time Decision last week. He was Patrick Neufeld and Chris Kolinkowski, of course. They removed Micah Vanterpool from the roster, and they're going to go a Canadian here now in Gabe Wallace. Why? Well, they got to get an American in Quentin Cooley as a backup onto the roster. Lots of conversation this week, Chris. We could go down that rabbit hole of Dave Naylor's report about the ratio and all these new rules that have come in over the last couple of years. But regardless, we're not going to go down there. It ultimately, you need X amount of Canadians, X amount of Americans, and your quarterbacks.
That's the way it's always been.
Right.
You can't change that. Well,
but now it's like designated nationalized Americans, like the DNA, all of this stuff that most fans can't even get into. We're not going down that rabbit hole because we could probably fill up the rest of the hour.
I don't agree with it anyway, but that's
right? But
I just want to say one thing. Just as you're talking about Gabe Wallace coming in, I said I just want to make sure I had his 6'6", 350 pounds.
Reminds me of you.
That and a guard position. That's a big body, and they're going to get some movement. I like their O-line. I really think that I thought Kendall Randolph played very well as well. So did Vanderpool. I thought he was outstanding last week as well. They should have been the O-line of the week, and I guess it was the PFF or whatever. They gave it to Saskatchewan, I believe, again.
Yeah.
I saw our old buddy number 62 running down the field, knocking people over. And you know who that is? That used to be the old right tackle for the Bombers.
Jamarcus Hardrick.
Jamarcus Hardrick. Well, I really liked him. I always liked that guy. One of the nicest cats I've ever met. But yeah, so their Bombers O-line is good. I see that what we have there, and I bet you Dalton Schoen. You talked about Zach is back. I think Schoen and him have some kind of magic chemistry, and it's going to be interesting to see what Dalton does with Zach back at the quarterback helm. I think he's going to have a huge game. Kind of reverting back to 2 years ago before he got hurt. He was a go-to guy for Zach. He was always making these spectacular catches. He is, to me, him and Dembski are the guys that I think are, mind you, Carrick Wheatfall. He made a name for himself last week. Can he keep it up? I sure hope so.
Carrick Wheatfall's debut in 2024 was a 111-yard game. His 2025 debut, 127 yards, right?
But
Everybody's
what
like,
happened?
Ontario Wilson's in the NFL, and Kenny Lawler's a Hamilton Tiger Cat, and so's Drew
Oh, mind
Wolodarski.
you.
What's Winnipeg going to do? They didn't get anybody to fill in at receiver. Carrick Wheatfall is a very, very good receiver. You add Jareth Stearns as a possession guy, a speed guy, and Dalton Schoen missed most of last season. Winnipeg was an incredible offense and an incredible football team that probably should have won the Grey Cup. We won't go down that road either. But they did it without Dalton Schoen. You add Dalton Schoen. You give Carrick Wheatfall a bigger role, and you talk about that chemistry between Schoen and
Collaros.
Zach Collaros. Thank you. You also mentioned Nick Dembski, 25 of Collaros' 200 touchdowns. It's like 120 with Winnipeg or 110 with Winnipeg. 25 are to Nick Dembski. There's more chemistry. So Dembski and Schoen with Wheatfall and Stearns and Clercius and what Matthew Peterson's able, like, there is no fall off. That's why I said, Chris, this roster is in better shape this year overall than it was last year across the board. Offense, defense, specials.
I like him. I'll be honest with you, I like him, but it always stops. Listen, and I know they sound biased when I say this, but if you can win the battle of the trenches, I'm talking both sides. Oh, for God's sake, Stan Mikola, stop phoning me, for God's sakes. Anyway, you can win most football games. You have to have guys in there. And we've got a great defensive line. I really like the line. I like the addition of James Vauders. And then, of course, you got the good linebackers. You know.
I tell my dad this all the time because he's 84 years old. When your phone's ringing, you don't have to answer it, but just push a button on it and then it goes quiet.
I have to pull it. Vera, can you grab my phone?
Oh, it's not near you. Okay.
Oh, no, I threw it on the floor. But, it's a hot day, DB. And so all the ants are coming out of the anthill looking where are we going to have a cold sun after because, beautiful weather today. But anyway, I digress. I love that word, digress.
Before we get into the BC Lions depth chart, because they have some changes too. Of course, Jeremiah Masoli starting at quarterback, the most notable. We took some questions on our Instagram story from viewers, and great to see everybody in the live chat. But if you want to, we're going to probably do this every week. Hat tip to Zeno, technical producer extraordinaire here at Bonfire this summer. So Slobo4 on Instagram, our Instagram, follow, by the way, at BonfireWPG. That's our social handle across the board, wherever your social media is. Asks, does Zach Collaros get 200th career passing touchdown? I think that's a no-brainer. He absolutely does.
Yeah, I'd bet on that.
Canadian Football Central says, thoughts on the impact of James Vauders to the defensive line, as Chris, we were just talking about the battle in the trenches.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I mean, James Vauders, 1 tackle, Willie Jefferson, 1 tackle. But the fact is they held Nathan, who likes to run. And Nathan ended up being, I think, the leading rusher. And if he's the leading rusher in your team, you're in trouble. But, I mean, they put so much pressure on Nathan Rourke. He was 1 for 10 for 6 yards. 1 for 10. What an absolutely dreadful start to a football game. And he's never beaten the Winnipeg. He's 0-4 in his career against Winnipeg. He wanted to play. Believe me, if he could, he would. But I think it's smart by BC not to play him. But I think those two guys, stats don't tell you everything. Pressures, the way they keep the quarterback in the pocket. I thought that both of them played an exceptional game. I think he's a great bookend for Willie Jefferson. And it's interesting because they had a guy last year, Celeste, what was the name? Haba, who's now for Toronto. He's just a healthy scratch or wherever he is. He's a healthy scratch. Yeah. I think we picked up a great guy in Vauders. And I mean, you got to give credit to another guy in there, and Jake Thomas, who's I don't know how a guy like that plays that tackle position. He's still healthy. He still doesn't miss a game. Iron Man. What do they call him? Fats? They call him Fatty or something? Fats Thomas or Jake or whatever. I don't want to give him a nickname if it's not his nickname, but look at that pressure. And again, you're showing touchdowns. You're such an offensive guy, aren't you? Look at Dembski. There's Vauders right there. And there's Marquise with one of his interceptions. Yeah, the big boys.
Sorry,
really.
I'm muted. I think James Vaughters has been an incredible addition to the Blue Bombers defensive line. Talking to Willie Jefferson at the Sea Bears game, and I said, "What's James Vaughters like?" And he says he reminds him a lot of Jackson Jeffcoat. So that's a pretty nice compliment, I would say.
Very nice compliment. Yeah. I like Jackson Jeffcoat. That kid was a baller, man.
Yeah. One more question on our Instagram at Bonfire WPG. Get over there and follow. Why doesn't Walby invite me to his Christmas party? Says Schnitzy.
Oh, so the pressure's on already.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's a Boxing Day party.
Yes.
It's always on the 26th. We always get together. I must give out a shout to Trans-Canada Breweries. They gave me a bunch of beer for that, and I got to tell you, I love the beer, so shout out to them. Maybe they'll come on board one day. It'd be really great to have them on board our show. But yeah, it's a good time. We get a lot of the old Bombers together, and we tell stories, and they're always bigger and better, just like fishing.
Well, all your sons are there too. They're as entertaining as anybody.
Oh yeah, there's been some incidents we won't talk about, but it's pretty funny. I got the 4 boys and all their girlfriends and all their and the grandkids.
You weren't returning my calls all through December, so I didn't make it this year. But I was there. No. I think I'm still dehydrated from the last time I was there. So.
I think I told you I moved, but you keep finding me.
Yeah, I'm now my girlfriend lives right by you, so it's easy.
That's right. Tell her to lose my number. Tell her to lose my number, okay?
Lose my number, yeah. Here's the BC. Here's the BC Lions depth chart for Saturday against the Blue Bombers. There's Jeremiah Masoli, who got first team reps in practice all week. Rourke limited on day 1, did not practice on day 2 or day 3. He's a game time decision. Which just means,
no, you won't see
he's
him.
There or he's not. Like
they'll dress him just as another set of eyes, but
emergency. He could always be in the press box, right?
You could be in the press box. You're going to see Chase Bryce will probably be the short yardage quarterback.
Yep.
They cannot risk Masoli on short yardage.
Yeah.
He's been injury prone the last couple of years. He's healthy finally, so you put Chase Bryce in there. And that's what you want to have happen. They got James Butler, I don't know why they don't run the ball more. I mean, they ran the ball 10 times last week, 10 times. And, 6 by Rourke, 10 by Butler. So really 10 running back plays. We had 23 by just one guy and Peterson. That is a surprise because I know when we did our show last week, I said that one of the things about Buck Pierce is he likes to run the football. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, the fact that Rourke went 1 for 10 for 6 yards, it kind of puts pressure. You can't get anything when the ball won't go anymore. And the Bombers, we talk about the pass rush, but they did a good job of stuffing up that run. They're going to have to get that run going against the Bombers to have any luck. They got new guys. That one guy, Barry Hill's out. He was the wide receiver, had the huge first game. Not against us. He had 2 touchdowns, and then he got hurt. So they brought in Jermaine Jackson, who's got 2 catches for 12 yards. Another little guy, Stephen McGee, 5'9". But this Jermaine Jackson is 5'7". They got a lot of those speedsters. And I wonder if he's going to be one of the returners. Maybe that's why.
You say Stephen McGee. I'm just looking at the roster here.
7.
They say his name is 7.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he wears 77.
Wow. Well, you know what? I didn't even. You know what?
I guess
that's very acute, buddy. Because I didn't even pick that up. Parents were
big Seinfeld fans. Remember when George was like to name his kid 7, and then someone stole the
unless they got 7 kids, and he's number 7. Maybe hey, number 1, talk to number 3, tell him to come to dinner.
5, clean up 4 and 3. We got to,
4, 3. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's crazy, man. They made a change too, on their offensive line. Tyler Packard, a kid out of Calgary, starting at right guard.
He's been a starter. He was pretty much a starter all season last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I was kind of
he didn't
surprised
start last. He was a backup. He was a backup last week, so maybe he was banged up a little bit.
Well, Packer and Pearson both have been starters for the BC Lions. This is what I'm curious, Chris. Let's lay it on the line here, and maybe this leads into your keys to the game. Will Buck Pierce adjust his offensive game plan? Not so much because of Jeremiah Masoli, but because of how good Winnipeg's defense was last week.
Yeah, I think you have to make adjustments for sure. You know, every coach goes into the first game for offense. They'll go with a set number of plays they're going to run, and that predicates how they make adjustments to the game. What's working, what's not working. Okay, we have to go back to the book. We got to make some changes. That's what's going to happen. They got a game film to break down and dissect. I think Buck Pierce, the defense coordinator, Mike Benavides, they're all going to look at how do we stop, first off, the run, because the Bombers are going to pound it. I'm telling you, there's no reason for them not to pound it, and they need to stop the run. And I think I listened to one of the defensive linemen this week on their show, and they said that their number one goal is to stop the run. They didn't do a very good job. They had too many guys go in the same gap. They missed assignments, and they can't have that if they're going to be successful against a team that's gone to 5 straight Grey Cups. You know, I didn't know what to expect from the Bombers with the changes, but I'm going to say, just like you said earlier in the show, I was positively impressed with the whole, you know, the everything about the game. I mean, that Vaval, nice returns. I mean, 12.1 on punt and 30.5 on kickoff returns. That's winning the field, the field position battle. And here you go. Right on cue. Look at that. Yeah.
With violence, like this is just one of his returns. This was a 41-yard return that set up a 50-yard field goal. The Bombers go ahead 28-17 and really didn't look back from there. But I talked to Mike Miller this week. The Blue Bombers special teams, I think, they are, sometimes it takes a year to adjust, right? Like they were going from Paul Boudreau Jr. to Mike Miller from a player to a coach, communication, organization, just kind of the nuances of it, right? So there's Trey Vaval. You notice the checkered flag on the neck. He is a big dirt biking guy. Is it dirt biking? Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. It wouldn't be horse racing.
Well, they don't use checkered flags in horse racing, but it's he kind of has that, similar to Mike Miller, and implementing those things. The special teams overall looked great. Cover teams returned.
Good cover team, yeah.
And I thought Jamison Sheehan kicked incredibly well, but Trey Vaval, he's an extreme sport guy. He's a dirt bike guy, right? He likes the danger. He likes the wild. And here he is, in pro football, like in college, it's probably like, who's the fastest guy? Okay, let's try to get him to miss a tackle, make a guy miss or break a tackle and we'll get a good return. In the pros, you have to run with violence. You have to run with a little bit of a screw loose. And Trey Vaval, incredible debut in pro football, and just it was almost like a reassurance from a lot of Bombers fans, because they did not know how the return game was going to shape up this year. And then there's Peyton Logan on the one game to start the year.
Well, I think he's going to love that if he watches our show, and I'm sure he will, that you called him, you need to have a screw loose. He's going to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Hey, but danger, Will Robinson, right? It's like, but anyway, I think that, I was very impressed. That's a piece of the puzzle that the Bombers definitely need to improve on from last year, for the last couple, since they lost Janarian Grant. Mm-hmm. And I think they found a guy. Now, I hope he replicates that again this week in BC, where the conditions are beautiful. Mind you, the weather in Winnipeg has been beautiful too. So I actually enjoy playing outdoors when it's nice, as opposed to being indoors. I find it stuffy. It's
the roof will be open.
It's a dead air. It's dead air. I mean, Bob Cameron, the best punter ever in the CFL, used to say it's just dead. He kicked the ball and it hits up a certain layer of air and just pushes the ball down. So it's very interesting. And I mean, he would know more about that than I would be. But when you're talking to the, what I call the goat of punting. But I mean, it's going to be great. I mean, look what they got. I mean, they've got Sean. Yeah.
So he had a doink on an extra point, had this miss as well, and now going into that quote-unquote dead air dome of BC Place. I wonder if that dead air is different now that the roof opens, right?
You know what? That could be a good question to answer. But I'll say this. You want to talk about, listen, he was 2 of 3. I didn't know he missed a field goal. How about Brett Lothar in Saskatchewan, who apologized to his teammates and his fans for missing 3 and an extra point?
Yeah, 4 kicks.
I mean, well, I got to tell you, 3 and 1 is 4. Thanks for doing math. You do taxes too. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the other thing is, I think that they were so lucky to. I mean, they won the game. Good for them. Corey Mace came out and said, "I'm standing by him. He'll come back." And boy, I tell you what, that's the NFL. You know what it's like in NFL. You miss a couple, you're gone. They don't even play around down there. So he's lucky that because I still remember the kicker, McCallum, when he missed that one in the playoffs for Saskatchewan, and they dumped horse crap on his front yard.
Do you know the quirk of that story, Chris?
No.
They dumped. It was a dump truck of manure on his front lawn because he missed and they lost the game.
Yeah, I did that game.
It's almost worse what happened. They didn't get his front yard. They got his next door neighbor.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Are you kidding me? Well, that is good.
So that one, you know what people think of you when they attempt to dump manure on your front yard. 2, you now have a next door neighbor who is pissed at you because their yard is covered in manure. It's like a double whammy. I think it was genius. It was obviously a mistake.
I did not know that. That is so good to tell me that story, because that's something I'll put in my repertoire on my little file, my box, my Rolodex. That is a great story, because I sometimes talk about that, but I did not know that it was on the neighbors. That is outstanding. Outstanding information. That made me laugh out loud.
Right? CFL lore. So many amazing stories. I want to draw attention to this, Chris. We saw it just a second ago. Here's Jeremiah Masoli in at quarterback in the 4th quarter, and this was Bridges' second interception.
It's a terrible throw.
Really bad throw. So I'm wondering what Jeremiah Masoli saw here, because, he was being pressured. Maybe he was trying to throw it away. Yeah, that's what
I don't think so. I think to me, when you look at that play again, and I don't have to. I think it was total miscommunication between him and the receiver. He thought the receiver stop and go. It was supposed to be see how he did a stop and go, and then he just stopped. So the ball's overthrown, and it goes, and Marquise is the recipient of another interception.
Yeah,
but it's breakdowns, mental breakdowns. It'll kill you every time.
Broken play. I wonder if the receiver thought, okay, he's being chased. I'm just going to sit and let him throw it to me.
Well, when I see a guy do a stop and start, is he's trying to get the defender to come in tight to him, and then he's going to blow by him or try to blow by him. Yeah. And he stopped, and I think Masoli thought he was going to keep going, and he just threw it where he thought he was going to be.
Well,
and unfortunately,
this was another position group where Bombers fans were like, oh, okay, we lost Tyrell Ford, his, number 2 ranked 6 interceptions last year. Second only to the most outstanding defensive player in the league, and Roland Milligan of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But in steps Marquise Bridges at boundary corner, at field side corner. I mean, I know it's a lot of minutia for people, but here's your boundary side. That's the short side of the field.
Short side. That's the easiest way to explain it. Yeah.
Hash mark. Same 2 from last year. Parker's the new safety. This used to be his position where Bonds is, injured in training camp last year, missed the whole season. There's Evan Holm, and this is where Tyrell Ford was last year. Marquise Bridges was a backup in Winnipeg. Learned, took his time, practiced, got better. Second year as a pro, and he had his huge 2025 debut wearing number 9 in the defensive backfield. Winnipeg, I honestly feel like they are loaded on the back end with defensive backs and the dime backers, Griffin and Cramdy, loaded with talent for Jordan Younger, a former DB in the CFL and NFL, to utilize as defensive coordinator. I think they're stacked.
I think Jordan Younger is starting to really prove himself. Not that he had a great year last year in his first year, taking over from Richie Hall, who's an assistant now. But I think he brings a whole different realm of disguise. Changes it up. They don't sit in zone. They don't sit in man. They mix it up. They'll bring guys up and drop a linebacker. I mean, they play games with the quarterback. They'll do cover zero, which means bring the safety up, thinking it's wide open down deep in the middle, but they just shift the guy over. So it's just smart. But I think the best coaches are the coaches that played that position before. I think you need to have guys that understand that. I don't think that you can take a linebacker and make him a defensive coordinator or defensive, back coach. I'm watching Edmonton Elks, and the linebacker is the defense coordinator for Edmonton, and they're making mistakes left and right. Sherritt.
Yeah,
and they left the one receiver wide open on a great scramble by Davis Alexander, who I think is wow. He was 20 of 24 for 3 touchdowns, 250 yards.
Milt Stiegel, who is, at home, grieving and recovering from a loss in his family in Georgia, was tweeting during the game. He's like, Davis Alexander, MOP.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I like their broadcast. I really do. I don't like when they start playing stupid games. They're here to cover football. It's like us. Why don't we just get dressed up in dresses? We'll blow up. We'll go put helium balloons or something like this.
I haven't seen any of that on TSN.
Oh, last year they were wearing hard hats and all this other crap.
Oh, they like having fun. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Where's the old lineman on that panel? Where's the old lineman?
They haven't replaced 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙚, eh?
No, and I fucking love 𝘎𝙬𝙧. Excuse my language, and I miss him. He's a great guy, but
and Matt Dunn.
And I don't know. And still, there's nothing. I try to get. I fought trying to find out what's really if he retired or whatever. Mm-hmm. I put a tweet out that I miss him because what I loved was his energy and his understanding of the game. I like a guy that's got energy. I like a guy that's got excitement in his voice. I don't want to hear a monotone, and I'm not saying anybody is, but I don't want to hear anybody that just kind of, it'll put me to sleep. I'll put on
Paul
the Rainfall channel.
Has upped his game from last year to this year. He seems very comfortable in that color commentary role. Him and Dustin Nielsen, I think, are doing the game Saturday in Vancouver, the Bombers game. That's a stud duo to me. I think great.
Yeah, well, Paul's done a lot. Offensive coordinator, head coach. He understands the game, and he's going to only get better. And I say that because it takes a while to get in there where you start to get very comfortable. And with his knowledge, I mean, I watched him when he was doing TSN broadcasts on the studio, and it was called, I think, Coach's Corner or something like that.
Yeah, Coach's Playbook.
Coach's Playbook. I thought he did an excellent job of explaining stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. I mean, I'm happy. He's also coaching the flag football team, I believe.
Team Canada.
I think they're in Vegas now, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a day or two of something like that, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I read the news.
He's not doing the game on Saturday. I know Dustin Nielsen is doing the game. Maybe he'll be with Suits again. No.
Oh yeah, Mr. Saskatchewan.
Yes. Mr. Saskatchewan. That's right. Chris
used to bring his guitar.
He used to what?
Every game I used to work, we do TSN. He'd bring his guitar. He can play. He can sing. He's pretty talented. Yeah. Oh yeah. He can play. He's.
So he would bring his guitar to work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After the game, we go have a couple cold ones in one of the rooms, or even. And I know during the Grey Cup, when we did the games, and we were there for the week. He'd be up in the media room with his guitar, playing songs and stuff like that. So I'm surprised you didn't see him. He likes to play guitar, man. Maybe he'll serenade you, DB.
Yeah, I don't get invited to those TSN parties anymore.
Well, it's on CTV now too, but it's the same cats, I think, isn't it?
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, it's essentially a simulcast from.
Why don't they hire you, man? DB, I'm saying it right now. DB, put him on TV.
Nah, I don't want it. I'm here with Bonfire Sports, baby. This is what we're doing.
Okay. All right, man.
Yeah. Well, look at that hat on you. Why would I want to work with anybody else?
Yeah.
You're Chris fucking Walby. Are you kidding me? Come on.
You know what in Croatian Badali means?
Badali? What does that mean?
Badali means idiot. So B is B for Badali.
Yeah.
I was at I was at my wife's parents yesterday, and they're Croatian, and they're funny, and it was her brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Peter! But anyway, we're there, and I only know a couple words. Badali, Veliki Balada, which means I'm an idiot.
You just call everyone you walk in, Badali.
Badali. That's what the B's for on here. Badali. No, it's for Bonfire. And Darrin Bauming. He actually says for
beauty.
Bombing.
It's
if I show the back of your hat, it's a picture of you naked.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Well, your girlfriend gave it to me. So
I had those scrubbed off the iCloud.
Yeah. Your girlfriend likes to jog, eh?
What?
She runs, doesn't she?
No.
Oh, I saw her running about 5 times in front of my house. I don't know what the heck's going on.
I knew that was coming. I knew that.
Oh, I gotta have some fun, man. It's a beautiful day. We're almost done.
Yeah. I want your keys to the game, if we can cut right to it. Okay. Now. Chris, critical for the Blue Bombers to accomplish. So not only can they get a second straight win against the BC Lions and capture that season series, just 2 games this year, but move to 2-0 and, keep pace with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Montreal Alouettes.
Yes.
Geez, the Calgary Stampeders, who will play a little bit or just before the Bombers game. That division of power in the CFL already starting to show just through 3 weeks.
I'll say that Montreal looks very, very good on the east side. Okay, but I'll say this for my keys. On offense, I think you got to protect Zach. You know they're going to come up and put pressure on Zach. I know he's mobile. He loves to roll out to the right and throw passes. He likes to break contain, but I think they got to protect Zach. I think you need to control the environment. That means run the football, establish a run, stay with it, and protect the football. 3 simple things, but these are keys in a really volatile environment like BC. On defense, you got to muzzle Masoli. Keep him in the pocket. And I think Jordan Younger does a great job. Mix up coverages. We saw what they did last week. They had 2 interceptions, Marquise, Bridges. I think they got to, don't sit in one coverage all day, which I'm sure they won't. And on special teams, Vaval seems like full value. Little play on the V's there. Very impressed with how he ran the ball. And the special teams thing. I don't know. I got too much time on my hands, I guess, some days.
Well, that's what they say about YouTube, Chris, is that you got to bring the value. And Vaval.
Bring the value, have some fun. That's what it's about, brother.
I like it. Hey, you got plans for the weekend? What's going on?
Going to lake tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I took the wife's car. Tonight, I'm just going to, I got to go and see. I got to go pick up some stuff for the pool.
Yeah. Well, I got some headphones for you. I got some headphones for you. So you and I can make some content when you're driving to Princess Auto or wherever you're going.
Well, I'll probably be back Monday because
I don't care. I want you on the dock, baby. You, Luca, Cold One, Bonfire.
No, but I think Monday might be supposedly supposed to be raining.
Yeah.
So
what about church on Sunday? How about you skip church? We'll do a little.
No, God before me, man. God before Bonfire.
Amen.
Amen. My Father, I will not miss your day. I don't even play that game because that guy, yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway,
love your keys to the game.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too, buddy.
Send my best to my favorite Walby. That, of course, is your lovely bride. And she's not your old lady, Chris. She's your wife.
What's your girlfriend's name? What's your girlfriend's name?
None of your business. I'll tell you privately.
That's a crazy first name.
Her name is Jessica.
And her sister, mind your business. And her mom, I'm a business.
I'm not a businessman.
And then your dad, do your business.
Yeah, that was Jay-Z. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Maybe that's what the B stands for. Bonfire, the business.
Can I get a zip of that? I don't understand that. Hi, buddy. Okay, I got to get going, brother.
I'm going to pop by later today, okay? But thanks to everybody in the live chat.
Okay, I may not be here, but my wife will be here.
Of course. Follow us. Well, good. I prefer it.
All right. Bye.
Hang on a second. Follow us on social media, everybody. Be sure to share this with your friends at Bonfire WPG. And this podcast will be up momentarily as well. But big thanks to WST for the raid and everybody joining us in the live chat. The questions on our Instagram, we'll get that going. Hey, you don't want to miss live after the game, video highlights immediately following Bombers, Lions, and the Week 3 rematch in Vancouver. Yeah. It's going to be a late one on Saturday, but we're looking forward to it. Big Bluto, Chris Walby. Thanks, brother. Love you. Have
Always
a great
a pleasure, buddy. Have a great weekend. Stay
Yeah.
warm, stay hydrated. And I might be home, but if I'm not, it's like I said, just you know where I live, just keep driving.
I'm just gonna camp out in front of your house.
Yeah, it's okay.